Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday morning. This is Leah Dixon in Port Coquitlam. I've got my regular Facebook Live video happening this morning, and today I am featuring, we're going to be using the itty bitty greetings because we're going to be making some mini cards. So these little mini sentiments are perfect for creating smaller cards. And there's actually, meant to have both cases out. So it's actually a double pack of sentiments that you get with the itty bitty greetings. So many nice little sayings for all the holidays and occasions. And so these are perfect when you're making little mini cards, which is what I'm making today. I'm making 3x3 cards featuring the Mosaic Mood DSP. Good morning, Janice. So this paper is one that I think gets a little bit forgotten in the main catalog because the pictures of DSP in the catalog just do not do them justice. These papers have like a shine to them, and then one side is matte but with some really gorgeous designs in this mosaic pattern. And so again, it's got that shine to it and a little bit of a texture. So they're really fun papers to use and really easy to use even without stamp sets. I mean, the only stamps I'm using are the itty bitty greetings, and even the cards I've created, you could probably get away with no sentiment at all, just the beauty of the paper. So to get started, the reason I'm making mini cards is because I've got these pizza boxes. So Stampin' Up! Sells these. These are food safe. So like the inside, lots of people like to put this shiny side on the outside, but it's actually meant to be the inside of the box because these are food safe boxes. So as I'm working with these, I'll just show you quickly how to put these together. You actually don't need any adhesive at all to put these together, although I tend to throw a little bit on just to be sure. But the idea is you just get started by going through and folding on all of the score lines. Fold everything in, and for these ones I'm actually going to fold them back out so that I can fold in again. And there's our lid. So I'm going to fold everything in. Good morning, Danielle. Nice to see you. All right. Fold that in, fold that in. So now here's where you don't need to have any adhesive, but I always like to, is I just put a strip of tear and tape on the inside of this front flap. It's kind of like the key point that's going to hold everything together. So I just feel like that little extra adhesive makes the card stay together, because technically what happens is these pieces clip in there and then this folds around and clips in as well and holds it all in place. So I just like to grab a little bit of tear and tape and make that extra strong. All right, so make sure all of our pieces are folded in the right way. So you want this side to be folded in and creating like a box. And then this comes around and clicks in. And now because I have the tear and tape there, it's really holding it securely. And then the rest of our box just tucks in. And voila, you've got your little pizza box all ready to go. And so you can see there that's sliding a little bit. If you wanted to, you could use some tear and tape there to hold those in place, but then I do find that it makes it a little bit harder to open to get the contents out of the box after the fact. All right, so then with this box created here, I'm going to put 4 of our mini, we've got 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 envelopes available. So I'm just going to put 4 of those in the base. Those are going to be the 4 envelopes that go with the cards we create today. And then I used some thick Whisper white cardstock and cut it at 6 by 3 inches and scored it at 3 inches. So I've made a whole bunch of these card bases. You could use other colors. I like to use the white, the Whisper white thick cardstock, because then it gives me a white inside to my card and I can do whatever I want to the front and fully cover it if I want. And I still have that white inside and don't have to layer up inside a mini card, because typically these are being used just on the top of gifts or with a nice bouquet of flowers, or, you know, give the whole package away as a gift. So with our box put together and our envelopes inside, I am going to set this off to the side for now, and we will come back and decorate the top of that. But for now, we're going to start working on creating the cards that are going inside of our box and seeing how this beautiful Mosaic DSP works. So what I have got here is, so I'm just going to move a few things out of my way. There we go. So I have cut a few squares of cardstock and DSP. I have cut, oh, not very well. I have cut a piece of early espresso, and I cut it at just slightly less than 3 inches. So it's like 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. So it's just giving me the slightest white border remaining on my card. And then to go on top of that, I cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 a piece of this kind of green leafy DSP. So to begin with, I'm actually just going to glue these together. So I do like to use my liquid glue. You could, of course, use snail for this part of the gluing, or any other adhesive that you enjoy using. So I do really like the liquid glue though, so that I can line things up. All right, so with that done, I'm going to put my glue away for a moment, and I'm going to grab a piece of DSP, a different, so this is the same kind of pattern, but it's in yellow leaves. And on the other side of it, with some really nice shiny elements, are some gorgeous butterflies. So I'm actually going to sneak in here with my scissors, and I'm going to do like a rough cut first of all, just to pull this butterfly off of the large page. Just going to cut that one out, and I think I'd like one other. So I'm going to come in here and rough cut this one. I'm tempted to grab one of these bees too, but that's a lot of fussy cutting. You know what? I'm going to do it anyways. No, I'm not. I'm not into that much fussy cutting today. Maybe on another day when I wanted to get really detailed. All right, so I'm going to just take this guy off the main page. Set that back to the side. So I've got these 2 beautiful butterflies now, and these are so easy to cut out because with the Mosaic design, there's of course like the grout line, I guess, essentially. And so you don't even have to be very careful as you're cutting, as long as you kind of stay within that grout line. You've got some really nice, easy to cut out images. All right, so we'll get this butterfly cut out. And go around. So we've got one butterfly there. And I'm going to grab this other one and cut this one out as well. And so same thing here, we've got the grout line. And I really do like these because they've got a little bit of a shine to them. All right, so this Mosaic DSP actually has like a stamp set and everything that coordinates with it. It's part of a suite. It also, there's a Mosaic tile embossing folder and all sorts of other things that you can add on to this kit to, you know, really pump it up and make some amazing things. But I am keeping it very, very simple today and sticking just with the paper, just to show you how much you can actually do with this paper. I don't know if you've been looking at some of the samples already that I've got online. Many of those use either the folder or the stamp set, but today we're just going to use the paper because it is so beautiful. So with that background created like that, I'm now going to grab just a little strip of white paper because our sentiment won't show up very well on this shiny background. It won't stamp very well on there. It won't stick to the shiny parts. So I've got this, and I'm going to grab one of my sentiments. Now, I was with some new customers the other day, and she said, oh, I got my my stamps, and I wasn't really sure. Like, the instructions in here are really, really complicated. And you're right, the pictures make it look way harder than it is to actually mount these. So what you're going to do is, I want to use the congratulations. So I'm going to grab that stamp. Now this one, for some reason, I've already peeled the backing off, which is kind of weird, but there's a backing here. You're just going to peel off. This, you know, has a slight stick to it, but not really. It's really just foam, and it's a surface that's all prepared for sticking the stamp on. So with that done and that backing peeled off, I'm going to find the congratulations on here, and I'm going to peel off half of the backing there as well, but only half this time. I'm going to make sure that my stamp set is lined up so that they're both, I hope you guys can see that, so that they're both the word congratulations but backwards. And then, starting on the side that still has paper, I'm going to line this up over the cut lines and then put it down over top of the side that I removed the sticker. So now it's stuck, only on half of it though. And I'm going to peel it off of the paper on the side where there's the sticky. Okay, so now you can see I've got my stamp and I still have half the paper on. So I'm going to come in here now and peel off that and kind of use the paper itself to roll it down as I put it on there. So now I've got that stamp mounted, well, not mounted yet, but with its sticky, its cling back sticker on it, so I can actually read it. I'm going to line it up nicely on a grid line and then stick it to my block. So it's up a little bit high. Actually, I don't like how high that is. I'm going to peel that off. Oh, and actually that was a good reminder to me that I should grab my washi tape. So I find these very challenging to peel off the blocks once they've stuck down. So I just keep a little roll of washi tape beside my desk. You know, just either some retired washi tape or a pattern I don't particularly know what to do with, and use it for this. So I've just stuck a little bit on there. Now I'll stick this onto my block. And now when it comes time to have to remove this, I can just grab the washi tape and easily peel it off without having to dig underneath. All right, so that's how you mount the stamps. Take the back off the foam side, take half the sticker side off, and then line it up and put it down, and then finish off the job. Okay, so I'm going to be using Early Espresso ink today for my cards, for stamping my sentiments. And I come in here with a congratulations. Not the easiest thing to line up right now, but got lots of scrap paper if I don't get this right. All right. There we go. So my congratulations is stamped on there. And I'm going to use my favorite punch, my tailored punch, and I'm going to cut a little banner end on that. So I'm wasting quite a bit, but this was just scraps that I had laying on my desk anyways, so I'm not too concerned about that. So that's going to go on like that. And my little butterflies, actually I wonder, no, you know what, I'm going to punch both ends and make both ends little banners and line it up. Okay, so that's going to go right in the middle, and I'm going to put that on with some dimensionals. And so let's see if I've got some minis here. Yeah, lots of minis. Again, I'm using up all my kind of like pieces that I've started and not finished, so I'm trying to use up bits. All right, so using some dimensionals, I'm going to put these words down, and then I'm also going to use dimensionals on my butterflies to stick these little guys onto my card front. Here we go. Oops, not right there. There. All right, so I hope you guys are all having a great day. It looks like a gorgeous but cold day out there. Once the sun warms things up a bit, I'm gonna head out for a hike today, then come home and write report cards. Boo! Not looking forward to that part of my day. I am looking forward to the draw that I'm doing this afternoon though. Once I'm done this video, I'll pop back on and put in a link. I have one buy one, or sorry, not buy one, get one. I have one 50% off item available today. I'm placing an order this evening. So I have a little draw going on today until 4 o'clock. You can pop on to my announcement there and enter a comment letting me know what stamp set you would get if you could have the 50% off. And then I'll do a draw this afternoon to see which lucky person wins that. So, oh, I know, Janice. I can't believe it either. I cannot wait either. All right, so now I'm popping in here and I'm just using some mini glue dots to put on some sequins. And these sequins are part of a metallic twine and sequins combo that was part of our celebration offering. It's actually the sweetest stuff. You get this turquoise, I guess Bermuda Bay twine, some yellow twine, and then the sequins that have like the Calypso Coral, so saffron, and the Bermuda Bay in there. And some of you, if you're a demonstrator, you might be going, why is she using that? Nobody can earn that anymore. It's gone. It's been actually discontinued. It's not even going to be coming back as like an item later on when they get their stocks back in. It's just outright discontinued. It was so popular. And I do love it. I've been using this on a ton of cards, and I just thought it was a perfect complement to our Mosaic DSP. Some of you may already have it and will be able to go and reproduce these cards. But for those of you who don't, I'm actually giving away a pack, like a full, here, I'll show you. I've got the whole pack here. So it's the 2 rolls of twine and the sequins. And I'm actually going to be giving away one of these. I'll do a draw next week right before my regular Wednesday Facebook Live. And the way to enter to win those is to like this post, this video, once it's done, to share it. You could even share it now while we're going live. And to leave a comment on this video. Okay, and on Facebook only. I know I might be, well, I will be sharing this video on YouTube and probably a few other places, but it's specifically on the Facebook comments. If you want to like, share, and comment, so all 3 of those things, then I will enter you in a draw. Now, the way Facebook works, I also need to be your Facebook friend. So if I'm not your Facebook friend, if you just want to click that and friend me, then I'll actually be able to see that you shared. If you share my video and you're not a friend of mine, it just tells me that somebody shared my video. It doesn't tell me who. So it's kind of a problem with Facebook that way, but so just send me a friend request and then like, share, and comment on this video, and you'll be entered in the draw to win those. You also do need to live within Canada, and then I can send those off to you. So there's our first mini card created for this little pizza box set that we're doing. Oh, thank you so much, Val. Good morning. So that's the first of 4 cards that we're going to be making. I'm going to grab another card base. And for these, I've got, oh, I already have my card base sitting over here. All right. So here I've got a similar thing. I've got the early espresso background again. But this time I've got a Whisper White cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And this beautiful piece of DSP also cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And that's because I'm going to come in here now and let's see, try and decide where I want to cut along this mosaic. I do want to keep a darker mosaic as my outer edge. I just think it looks more finished when we do that. And so I'm going to cut along that grout line again. And I'm just cutting in these little cascades. It was really important to me, though, that I started, even though it looks like, oh, now I'm going to be wasting a lot of paper. It's important to me that I started with the square shape, so that I knew that I would hit 3 of the sides, and it would just be the one corner that was left exposed as I did this one. All right, so that was already cut to the exact same size as my white DSP, or sorry, white cardstock, and then I just trimmed along the grout line to create that little look there. So for this, I'm going to use a whole bunch of glue now, and I'm going to glue all my layers together. And this one is a very, very simple card. It's just this DSP and a sentiment. So to give it like a little pop, I'm actually going to grab some of the metallic twine, and I'm going to go really contrasting here. Oh, I'm so glad, Danielle. Yeah, I think this was one of the ones that we got at On Stage, wasn't it? And yeah, I've used it a little bit, but I've really neglected this one. So as I'm on my binge to use up everything on my desk, I found the pack of DSP. I'm like, all right, let's start using it. Yeah, so there we go. So we've got that all layered up, our DSP on our cardstock base. And now before we glue this to our card front, we are going to stamp it. And I've got the sentiment with gratitude from our Itty Bitty greetings stamp set. And so come in there with gratitude, pop that on there. And I'm going to grab my Bermuda Bay twine. And so my little trick when I'm going to tie a bow is I leave enough that I think I can work with to actually tie a bow. I don't want to be fiddling with something too small. And then I wrap it around, come back to where my thumb's holding it down, and then cut off enough that I can tie the other half of the bow. So with that done, I'm going to take the two ends and wrap them around each other like you would if you were tying a shoelace, but I go right under both strings with the one that's going under. Okay, that's going to just kind of create a pinch point so that my strings stay together. And then I'll finish off tying the knot. And I do tie a knot always when I'm using twine instead of going straight into making my bows, which I often do when I'm working with a ribbon. But with the twine, I just find it's too loose. It runs away on me, so I always tie the knot and then make my two bunny ears. Wrap them around. This is a little bit challenging for me because I'm trying to do it where you guys are going to actually be able to see something on the camera, which is not how I would normally do it. But okay, there we go. It worked. And now this is the part that just requires some patience, but this is where you get those perfect bows, is in the fiddling with like tightening it and straightening it out and all of that. So this is where I kind of get the shape to the bow that I want and the size. All right. I think that's a good size. And that's a good length on these. So I'm just going to trim the one that got a little bit frayed at the beginning. There we go. All right, so happy with that. And then I'm going to sneak back into this box of sequins and pull out a few little blue sequins to pop on here. So now when I'm putting these sequins on, I actually really, for the larger ones, our regular mini glue dots work just fine. But for these smaller sequins in here, I do find that the leftover mini glue dots, because there always are leftovers, from the paper pumpkin are the perfect size. They're a little bit fiddly because of having to peel the backing off, but they really truly are just exactly the right size for this. All right, so grab that sheet again, my stray sequins. Okay, off my hands, there we go. All right, so if all of this stuff, like getting those sequins out of the bin and stuff, is challenging for you, if you've got those gorgeous nails or something, the Take Your Pick tool works really well for that. Unfortunately, for this next step, not a lot you can do but fiddle with it and hope for the best. Getting these little ones on and then the backings off is quite the challenge. All right, so there's one. I have tried just taking the paper off of these and then sticking the sequins down, but I'm not very often successful. Okay, here we go. Another one. All right, and next one. Sorry, get quiet while I'm concentrating. There we go. Okay, so that's done. So now with all of our embellishments, our ribbons and everything done, we can just grab our liquid glue and attach this to our card front. So for these ones, because they do have the twine running across the back, I would not recommend using snail. I don't think it'll hold. I would say tear and tape or liquid glue if you actually want these cards to stay together. Okay, so there is our second mini card. Like that. And now we're going to grab a card, a piece of Calypso Coral at 2 7/8, a piece of white cardstock at 2 3/4, and a lovely little sentiment. I've got Hey Friend this time. And this gorgeous paper. So this is, on one side it's a really nice, no, sorry, get that in your screen. This side is a really nice matte, like mint macaron, mosaic tile. But the other side is this shiny paper with my favorite hummingbirds. So today I'm going to be using, you could use any of these. They all fit on a 3x3 card, but I'm going to be using this guy, so I'm going to start by just kind of quickly cutting him out. Okay, so that quickly cut out, now I can get in here and get the finer details, but again, because it's got that grout line, it's really not a hard thing to cut. Like, you're not doing all sorts of intricate cutting. It's fairly straight lines. So it's, you know, technically fussy cutting, but it's not very fussy. Okay, here we go. So Celebration is still on as well for those of you who have already purchased some stuff. There's still lots of great items left. I believe that the only thing that's currently not available is this discontinued sequins and twine that I'm using today. I was even happy to see last night the bee paper is orderable again, and so are the kerchief kits. I probably shouldn't jinx myself and say that out loud because I want them to still be orderable tonight when I go to finalize my order. But yeah, everything seemed to be back on and available last night when I was kind of putting stuff together. So that's very exciting news for me because I was a little disappointed for a while there that those kerchief kits were not available. They're very cute. I was not impressed when I saw just the picture of them, and then when I saw them in person, I just fell in love. They're really beautiful. Okay, so we're not going to put our hummingbird on just yet. We're actually going to, I will just gently place him there just to get a sense. So I'm putting his wing all the way up in the corner and kind of having his head coming down like he is feeding on a bird feeder kind of idea. I'll grab my Early Espresso again. It's the only ink that we're using is the Early Espresso with these itty bitty sentiments. I'm going to pop in the Hey Friend there. Oh, that was a little crooked. Oh well. That's okay. Actually, you know what? I don't like how crooked that is, and we haven't glued anything. This is why we don't glue things, people. There are two sides to every piece of cardstock. So, come back in, put that there, and really look at that hay on there. Much better. Okay, cool. Now we'll move our hummingbird out of the way. I am going to glue these layers, and then before I glue them to my card front, I'm going to pop in here with the yellow metallic twine. I'm not sure if it's daffodil or so saffron or maybe a combo of the two, but It is beautiful, and it coordinates so well with this mosaic paper. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't see a ton of that happening online, because they actually do go their size. And again, I'm going to grab what I think I need to actually be able to manipulate it and tie a bow. Even though I'm going to end up cutting a bunch off, I'd rather cut a bunch off and have an easier time tying than be really struggling and frustrated. All right, I'll grab my scissors again. There. Okay, and pop in here. So under the two to create the pinch, tie the knot. Okay. Ugh. Now my hands are giving up on me. I haven't actually had a morning coffee yet, and which is really surprising for me. It's usually the first thing I do when I get up in my day, but slept in a little bit today. We stayed up way too late last night. We don't do a lot of TV watching. We don't even have cable or anything, but we do have Netflix. And last night we started watching Lock and Key, and we ended up watching 3 episodes, and we only went to bed because we are responsible adults, but I was so wide awake and so into the show, I could have stayed up and probably watched another 2 or 3 episodes. It is very interesting. It's not quite, well, it's not horror, but it's definitely suspenseful and a little graphic at times, but so interesting, and like a magical world full of keys. And oh, you did, Janice? So yeah, we're only 3 episodes in, and I am loving it. I hope it continues. I'm curious to see what they do with all these keys. I really want that anywhere key. Okay, Val, have a great day, and definitely come back and see the 4 finished cards, or I'll post a photo of them together as well. All right, so here we go. We got that ribbon tied on there. Now we're going to grab some dimensionals. And for this one, I'm actually going to grab like some larger pieces, because this hummingbird's actually fairly large. And I'm going to pop some into his tail, his wing, and his head. And then one more little one just up in this space to finish out the body area. All right. So we're going to go in here, peel those off. Okay, come on. Come on, come on. And oh, let's get our bow out from underneath him. Don't want to use dimensionals to smash that down. Okay, come on, get out. There we go. So yeah, rearranging our bow so it's on top of our hummingbird. There we have it. And now I'm going to add some sequins to this one as well. So let's see, we had that runaway one. I think those ones are too big. The larger sequins seem to be just a little too big for the delicateness of these little 6x6 cards. So I'm going to pop in here and grab, there's another yellow one. Can I get an orange one? There we go. All right, so grab a few of those and grab these. Impressed by this paper. As you can see, we've created now one with a bird, one with just the beautiful mosaic background, and one with the butterflies. And we still haven't even touched the flowers that are on this paper, and they are gorgeous as well. There's yellow and like pinkish red, I guess, calypso coral, and terracotta tile roses, and they're just gorgeous. So pop that. Oh, come on. Don't stick to me. There we go. And one more. All right. So, last backing off. Pop that down. No, that's not where I want you. There we go. All right. So there's all of our designs on there. So now we'll throw some glue on the back of this and pop this onto our card base. There we go. Now, when I pop these onto my card base, I always try and make sure that I'm making cards that open to the side. They do look cute if you make them so that they stand up, but I find that they don't always stand up very well. Yeah, so there we go. There's our third card in our series. And now for our last card, I am going to grab, again, a piece of Early Espresso cut at 2 7/8, a piece of Whisper white cardstock cut at 2 3/4, and then I just had this scrap of So Saffron, and so we're going to use that to put our sentiment on. So I'm going to actually start with that. That's our many thanks. This is our last stamp of the day. Come on in here, line it up. There we go. Oh, that was a little high. Okay, I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to actually stamp. I said this a few times, I have a way easier time stamping if I'm stamping vertical instead of horizontal. I don't know why. I find it easier to line things up. But there we go. Much better. All right. So that was our last stamp of the day. And find my punch. This time I am just going to do one side and create a little banner to go off to the side. And we're going to do a whole bunch of fussy cutting for this one with our roses. So here we go. We have this beautiful DSP. This is where I cut those butterflies out of before. And so now I'm going to take the same DSP and cut out some roses and some leaves. So for this one, I actually wonder about, I think I need a larger rose. I'm going to cut out this one and some of the leaves that are around it. I am going to cut them out separately though, because I want to pop the rose up above the leaves. So not sure if I'm on the screen there. Okay, there we go. So just a little bit of fussy cutting here. Cut out the rose first. Oh, try not to get any green on there. There we go. So for this one, the paper is so detailed and I can use so many parts of this paper because I can use the leaves, the butterflies, and the roses. That is a little bit harder for me just to come in and like wildly cut a rose off and then work with the smaller paper. Because I don't really know at this point which of the other bits I'm going to want to use, most of them. So at this point I can cut that off because I know I'm not going to use that little bit. Alright, come on in, last little round. So we have a beautiful rose now to put on our flower. And I want to add in some leaves behind it. So I can use some of the leaves that we left behind here. So you can come in and cut around these. Oops. Being careful to actually leave the grout line on there. Don't want to come in too close. There we go. And so when you're working with this DSP, you know, every card may be similar, but just slightly different because of the pieces that you're going to be able to grab off of the card. It's really going to be a matter of just playing around with what you have available, what's left on your sheet of DSP. So when I look at this, that's going to work beautifully. Even though it's got like the little crunch out of it, I can just layer it up a little bit deeper and do that. And then I'm going to grab one other smaller leaf, and actually I'm just going to grab this one because even though we're missing part of it, that's okay because we can tuck it under and nobody will know. Alright. There we have it. So move that DSP out of the way. Now I've got that other leaf, and so I'll be able to tuck those under and then my many thanks across the front. So that's going to work beautifully. So this I'm going to stick down with some dimensionals. I can just use some mini ones here. Okay, quite a few on there. And then I'm going to actually attach my flowers to the paper, not to, so actually let's glue some of our layers together. Let's get this glued in mine. Oops. So just going to glue our white DSP to our early espresso. Or not DSP, wow. White cardstock to our early espresso cardstock. There we have it. All right. So with that glued down, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of these leaves because I actually want them to sit back further than my rose. So I'm going to come in here, and it can stick off a little bit because I do have the border of the card. So this is going to be glued onto the card. So that's actually not sticking off of our card yet. Okay, and then come in here with this one. There we go. Get a little bit of glue there and put that rose back where I think I want it, and then make sure that that's going to tuck all the way under. Perfect. Okay, so with that done, I can peel off the backs of these dimensionals. And before I press down, just make sure that it is lined up the way I want it. Awesome. All right, then with our mini thanks, I'm going to put some mini dimensionals on the back of that as well. There we go. And pop that on there. I'm actually going to keep it so that we can see the black border, or not black, the early espresso border. Pop that on there. I'm going to glue this to my card front, and then I just feel like it needs a little pop of color, so I think we're actually going to use some sequins, but we're going to use those Bermuda Bay ones instead of kind of keeping it all like the soft colors with the oranges and the yellows. We're going to pop in there and just really splash it up. And so again, I'm just going to use the small ones because those big ones just seem a little too big for the size of our card. All right, grab a few more. Perfect. Okay, and actually, I think so. I'll put two up there, and maybe throw one over there. This area is looking a little empty too, so maybe we will put some yellow on here. I don't want to go too crazy and do too many of the blue, because I think it will just pop out too much then. But let's see here. So this is where I should really grab my take a pick tool, and this would be a lot easier, but all right. So yeah, I think we'll put two. I kind of like keeping it to odd numbers. I don't know why, but it just seems to look a little bit nicer when we do odd. So I'm going to keep that one there. And maybe change out, so those two and those two. Nope, actually, I liked it with the two blue up top. Ah, it's flying everywhere on me. Okay. All right. I think we'll keep it like that. Maybe, no. This is always the part I find challenging, is figuring out what to put where. All right, that I'm liking the balance of. Okay, so with that all done up, I'm going to grab my stickies and pop these on the back. Oh. Okay. So this is our 4 cards, and then usually what I do is I just recreate one of these cards as the front of my box, and so I would just make it slightly larger to cover more of the box. So instead of being just slightly under 3 inches, I would make my base layer exactly 3 inches, and so just a minor difference. And I would use one of these card fronts to also decorate the front of our box. So I'm not going to do that today because you guys don't need to see me create the same thing a second time. But do know that that box will get decorated, and then these 4 little cards will be in there. And I find, like, at craft fairs and stuff, these are super popular. They're a great thing to give away to hostesses if, like, you're invited to somebody's house for dinner. And yeah, just like a nice little gift for someone. All right, and one more. It's our last one here. There we go. Ah, don't stick to me. There we go. Want you on the card. All right, so that is our last card. So we'll put these all together. And we have these beautiful cards, minimal stamping, and all created with our Mosaic Mood DSP. So I hope you enjoyed that. You can always go to my shop, leadixon.stampinup.net, to place an order or contact me directly through Messenger, and I can place an order for you and answer any other questions you may have about these cards or any other Stampin' Up! Product. So have a great Wednesday. Remember that tonight at 4 o'clock I'm doing a draw for a 50% off item. I'll add that link now. And next Wednesday, right before my regular Facebook Live video, probably at the beginning of it actually, I will do a draw to see who wins the metallic twine and the sequins, as a special thank you to me for liking, sharing, and commenting on this Facebook video. Have a great day. Bye.